Let's go to the next part here. Fox News. This is some interesting stuff happening. We can't help but take a look. Donald Trump attacking Fox News. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. He says Fox News is promoting Ron DeSantis so hard and so much, there's not much time left for real news. Reminds me of 2016 when they were pushing Jeb. The new Fox poll, which they have been purposely terrible for me, has Trump crushing DeSanctimonious, but they barely show it. Instead, they go with losers like Karl Rove, Paul Ryan, and now even Jesper. I'm trying to figure out who that was, who have been wrong about everything. Isn't there a big, beautiful network which wants to do well and make a fortune besides? Fake news in all caps. So what is he talking about here? And ironically, if you actually take a look at the poll that Trump is referencing, this poll is great for Trump. Let's put this up there. To actually look at the poll that he's referencing, it has Trump at 43% in the Republican primary. It has Ron DeSantis at 28%, Haley at 7%, Pence at 7%, Greg Abbott at 2%, and Liz Cheney at 2%. So I'm pretty sure that that shows him with a dramatic lead, and not only a dramatic lead, Ryan, but it actually shows him increase his margin on Ron DeSantis from previously. So I'm not exactly sure what he's upset about. I mean, it's certainly true that Fox has been very kind to DeSantis, and I guess, they've aired some, we actually aired the Jeb endorsement here on the show yesterday, and it was frankly very bizarre because there was like music involved, and Brian Kilmeade was like, so Jeb, like, do you endorse Ron DeSantis? He's like, yes, I endorse Ron DeSantis.
And they played orchestral music.
Yeah, I was watching, I'm like, what is happening? Like, how is this possibly on television? It's humiliating just for any politician, let Trump or DeSantis or whatever aside, but at the same time, like all of the Fox polling, and to the extent they're even airing, pro DeSantis stuff, there's still a hell of a lot of Trump support on Fox News. So, I mean, it also tells me that given the fact that he hasn't addressed Nikki Haley, he hasn't talked about Mike Pence, he doesn't talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, he doesn't care about anybody except for Ron DeSantis. That's it.
The irony is that for all their trouble, Fox is getting dragged into court.
Yeah, you're right. On his behalf.
Might cost them a couple $2 billion because they were steadfast in support of his utter nonsense.
True.
And so it's funny that Trump can't see that these guys who are going through these depositions, and they're like counting their cash balance. They're like, they have something like a $3 billion cash balance, and they're like wondering, is that going to cover what we did for this guy?
Yes.
He can't imagine why they might be giving something less than perfectly favorable coverage to him. It's like, dude.
Yeah, it's a little odd. And it also just gets to the dynamic where clearly he sees DeSantis as a threat. Now, I think DeSantis certainly is a threat. I think he's the only actual threat that Trump has. But how much of a threat is he actually? And this, it really hit home for me where there's this idea that DeSantis would have a runway sweep if Trump wasn't in the race. But put this up there. This is a new McLaughlin Group poll of Republican voters, primary voters specifically, without Trump. And it really still only has DeSantis at 35%. It says DeSantis 35, Trump Jr. at 10, Pence 7, Haley 6, Candace Owens at 4, Ted Cruz 3, Romney 3, Pompeo 2, Tim Scott at 2, Abbott at 1, Rick Scott at 1, Kirsten Noem, etc. I can go on forever. But why does that matter? Because, 35%, now, okay, Trump actually did win the GOP primary in 2016 with that. But one of the arguments against him was, well, he's not a unifier. The majority of the people are still not against him. I found it fascinating that he was still only up to 35%. I'm not saying they wouldn't win a primary then, but he's not as much of the unifying figure without Trump as people are letting on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because tell me if you think this is right, but I think that the hardcore Trump supporters who used to love Ron DeSantis when he was Trump's sidekick, now that he's a rival, like, hate the guy.
I wouldn't say they hate him. I think they appreciate him, but they're skeptical. They're like, hey, what are you doing? Are you trying to upstage the man? And that's the other thing, the big divide where DeSantis, a lot of the people who love Ron DeSantis are new Republican voters. So we're talking about Cubans, a lot of Latinos, specifically Latino men in Florida, but a lot of hardcore traditional Republican people, small business Republicans who are going to vote Republican every single time on the ticket. They love Ron. He's a traditional, the Mitt Romney voter loves Ron DeSantis. DeSantis' political genius is he's willing to bring in people who are new to the Republican Party and hold down the traditional coalition. The Trump people really don't fit into any of that. Trump certainly did get some of these newer voters, but still less than I think than DeSantis. Trump's genius was traditional Republicans, small business Republicans willing to hold their nose and vote for him. And then all these people that you never voted before ever in modern American history. DeSantis, I'm not sure yet that he's been able to compete on that. And a lot of those people now vote in the GOP primary and they vote for Trump. That's what I think the difference is.
Right. I think he has a hard time with those folks because he's not funny. Like it's all of the like Trump culture war stuff, but without kind of Trump's joking about
I think you're right.
And a lot of people, I think wrongly, but a lot of people I think sensed kind of less hate coming from Trump because they didn't think he actually believed it. They thought he's just saying it just to go after people and make and be funny. DeSantis just kind of comes off as mean sometimes.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's still very successful. I would say, what I'd say is he doesn't have the same charisma, even close, as Donald Trump. I think that's a problem. Also, I didn't know this, but Trump is not wrong. He is quite short. I didn't know he was only like 5'7", which,
that's a problem.
Look, I'm not saying that it should matter, but it does matter. We haven't had a president, we haven't had a president in the modern era below 6'1" in like, what, 50 years or something?
More,
and maybe more, actually, when I go back and think about it. If you ever met Trump, I guess I've had the privilege of seeing the last couple presidents. I believe W is the shortest one I've seen.
He's like 5'11".
Yeah, he's like 5'11". Yeah. Clinton is huge. I mean, he's got big hands. Obama also was taller than people. And Trump, I met Trump many times, and Trump is a big, big man.
Gerald Ford was like a quarterback.
Yeah, Ford was a big guy. Nixon was a scrawny little dude. I guess,
maybe he's the last
Kennedy
one.
he really probably was the last one. Kennedy was, I believe he was tall, but, obviously had some health problems, but he seemed vigorous. And again, I think that aesthetically, that stuff absolutely does matter whenever you think about leader and what that should all fold into. With the Trump primary and Trump knocking Fox here, it all comes down to the question of what Fox is going to do. And that, I don't see any reason to suspect, for all Trump's talk of 2016, what happened in 2016? Ted Cruz is on the record saying Roger Ailes, sometime in 2015, went all in for Trump. And I just could not get a fair hearing there. They were no longer treating me the way they was in the Tea Party era. And the reason why, if you go back and you read the history, Ailes could read the ratings.
Yes.
Ailes had Trump in a regular Fox and Friends spot since 2011 for just a phone-in. Why? Because he used to get very high ratings. Ailes could see the spike in the ratings for Donald Trump, and that's why he decided to go all in for him at the network. Rupert Murdoch is in, some of these more recent, he's in some of these more recent depositions saying, oh, we tried to destroy Trump. Listen, all Rupert cares about is money. He doesn't care. He may find him personally distasteful. He liked Obama. That didn't stop him from hiring Glenn Beck because he's these guys are multi-billionaires. All they care about are the dollar signs at the networks, and that's all they've ever cared about,
But they did put that, Rupert did put that order in to like put a hit on him in that debate, right? Where Megyn Kelly started it.
And guess what? Nothing happened.
With that question, you've said all these terrible things about women, and Trump came back with a Rosie O'Donnell line, and Rupert and Fox at that point are like, oh, what have we unleashed here that we can't actually put back on the leash?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens, but I personally don't think that Trump has anything to worry about. Fox at the end of the day is just going to fall in line. I mean, all of them do. When it's more audience capture than it is anything else.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.